All right, welcome in everybody. Happy Friday out there. I want to thank you all for joining us. This is going to be our second live workout session of National Blind Sports Week presented by Healthy Vision Association. So hopefully you have some workout clothes on you and you're ready to get a little bit sweaty before the weekend hits. We are pleased to be joined today from Manhattan, New York, by Francesco Magisano. Francesco is the director of Try Achilles at Achilles International. He's also attended multiple USABA endurance events, including our triathlon camps. So I'm going to turn it over to Francesco to lead a Friday workout. We hope you all enjoy. At the end of it, we'll have some Q&A opportunities for Francesco if you have any questions about the workout or on his training regimen. So Francesco, take it away.
Hey, awesome. Thanks for the intro. So today's workout is going to be a complementary strength session to us endurance athletes. So we're kind of notorious for not training the multiplanar movements, not really training the rotation, fortifying all of our bodies so that we can handle all the cycling, running, swimming, or whatever else we do. So today, with the time that we have, we're going to work on two sections of movements. The first one is going to be fortifying our legs, and the second one will be our core. And so the whole workout will be descriptive. So whether you have vision or not, it doesn't matter. And we'll go through it. The only equipment that's needed, if you have weights or dumbbells or anything, that's great. If you don't, that's totally fine too. I have a backpack here just filled with some books and stuff. So it's just to add a little bit of weight. You also don't need weight at all. So let's just get started. The first movement we're going to do, which actually builds into the first three, is a squat. So we're going to go from a squat, coach all the little, the little intricacies of the movement, and then we're going to go into a squat with rotational chop, which will work on our stability while moving in different planes, and then we'll end with a Bulgarian split stance squat. And so what that'll do is that'll take us out of our comfort zones in this, very forward and backwards plane that we all live in, right? Me as a cyclist, as a runner, we're always moving our legs forwards and backwards. We're never really moving them in a sideways or diagonal position, and same with our cores. So let's just go over real quick. We'll go over the form of a squat. And it might be a little more complicated than what people might think if you've never done one before. Hopefully after this session, you'll take away some key points. We might not go crazy sweat today, but hopefully you'll learn something so that we can all take this forward. So basically a squat. My feet are shoulder width apart. My feet are slightly turned outwards or pointed straight forwards, up to you. And I'm basically going to cue the squat with hinging at the hips, which means basically I'm going to stick my butt out sort of behind me and then down. So I'm going down, basically my upper legs are parallel to the ground, and then I'm coming back up. One thing to keep in mind is that we don't want our knees coming out in front of our toes. So we don't want to squat down with our knees coming forwards and then coming down. We basically want to just hinge at the hips, sit back as if you're going to sit back down in a chair. My hips are parallel to the ground on my upper legs, I'm saying, and then I'm pressing back through the heels, standing up. So let's just do 10 reps of this bodyweight squat, and then we'll add some rotation and some fun stuff. So I'm going down into my squat. My hands are kind of out in front of me. You can kind of touch your shoulders or just hold them out in front if you want help with balance. I'm on my third rep out of 10. Basically, my upper legs are parallel to the ground, maybe a little below, and then coming back up while pressing through my heel. And I'm about halfway through, a couple more to go. Don't forget, the first cue after standing straight up is my butt sticks back a little bit, and then it starts coming down as if I have a chair behind me. If you have problems with your knees sticking out too far in front, you can do this while standing against a wall, basically facing a wall and squatting down. That way, if your knees stick out too much, your knees will hit the wall and you'll get that visual cue, or the non-visual cue, let's say, that your knees are coming out too far in front. Anyway, that's a squat. Let's grab our bag or a weight or dumbbell or anything, and we're gonna add a little rotation. This is where the meat of this rotation stuff comes in. So I have my backpack. I'm gonna grab it on either side, and I'm gonna hold it in front of me. My elbows are at a 90-degree angle, so this bag is sort of in front of my chest. I'm not hugging it to my chest. It's basically like 6 inches away from my chest. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down into a squat while rotating this bag to my right. So when I'm down in a squat, my bag is towards my right. My whole torso, my chest is facing my right. And as I get up from the squat, I'm gonna rotate this bag to in front of me and then upwards to the left. So basically I'm bringing this bag diagonally from the bottom right to the top left, almost over my left shoulder as I get up out of this squat. And what this will do is this will encourage your core, and especially the rotational aspects of this core, to move this weight while under resistance. So let's just do 5 reps of this rotational chop with a squat, with the bag or whatever weight you have. From a bottom squat, my bag's to the right, my chest is pointing to the right, and I'm getting up out of the squat. This bag is on the upper left shoulder. Coming back down, bottom right, up to the top left. Bottom right, up to the top left. So this is working on your shoulders since you're actually lifting the bag with your arms, as well as your core and your legs since you're squatting up and down. So I have 1 more of these to go. Up. And now we're going to switch sides. So the bag is going to start down to the left, basically the same thing, just the opposite. Down to the left, stand up from the squat, and the bag is going above my right shoulder. Back down to the left, up right shoulder. Let's do this 5 times. And especially if this is the first time that you're doing any movement, feel free to do it slowly, just to feel yourself go through the movement. If anything starts to pinch or hurt or anything, just stop, reevaluate. And this is my last rep. Cool. Let's put the bag down and take a 5-second or maybe like a 20-second break. Real quick, we're gonna do this circuit, basically this rotational chop and then the next movement. And we're gonna repeat it 1 more time. But for you guys, if you have more time at home, feel free to do this 3, 4, even 5 times. Just integrate it in like a strength session on your off day. It really adds to it. All right, cool. Let's grab a bag. Same deal, bottom right, top left. We're gonna do 5 reps and go. Don't forget, you're pressing through your heels anytime you're squatting, whether you're doing a regular barbell squat or anything, you're pressing up through your heels. There we go. Cool, I'm switching sides. Bag is to the left, facing up to the right. And remember, the whole point of this is rotation. So you don't only just want to move the bag from side to side, you want your whole upper torso to twist in that direction and then over your head to the right in that direction. Cool. So I just did 5 reps, 2 sets of that. Let's go to that second movement. I'm gonna put the bag off to the side for now. Now, this is called a Bulgarian split stance squat. And this is awesome because it isolates one leg from the other. So when we're doing regular body weight squats, we might have, actually most people have slight imbalances from one leg to another, both in a strength perspective, a stability perspective, a mobility perspective, a lot of different ways. So anytime we can isolate a movement like that is really awesome. And this is sort of an easier version of than like a pistol squat or a single leg squat. So basically the way to do a Bulgarian split stance squat is I have a couch behind me. You could do it with a chair behind you, a step, anything behind you. And basically I'm gonna start by squatting on my right leg. What this means is that my right leg is straight planted about a foot in front of the couch. My left foot is gonna come up behind me and the top of the foot is gonna rest on the seat of the couch. And so basically it looks like my left foot is like cocked behind me. My left knee is at a 90-degree angle. And basically I'm going to grab on sort of to the arm rest of the couch. If you need balance, if you don't, that's totally fine. And I'm going to squat down on my right leg all the way down so that basically my left knee is about 1 inch off the ground. And then I'm gonna press through that right heel to a standing position. Now remember, we're trying to squat on our right leg. So even though the top of our left foot is on the couch, we don't wanna really push on that left foot to get us up. That's just there to sort of stabilize us. So let's go back down. Let's go back down again. Squat on the right leg, press through the right heel to a standing position. You should really be feeling this in your right glute or even your right quad. And same thing with the other squats. We don't want our right knee to come out too far in front of our right foot. So if it is coming out too far in front of your right foot, chances are your foot is too close to the couch. Just inch your foot slightly more forwards away from the couch and it should fix it. All right, let's do 6 reps of our right leg split stance Bulgarian squat. Press through the right heel, right glute. I'm pressing, and that's 6. Now I'm gonna let's switch sides. Basically, my left foot is on the ground. My right foot is up on the couch behind me. The top of my right foot, I should say. And I'm going to squat down on my left leg and press up through my left heel to a standing position. Let's do this 6 more times. Now, if you are really like wobbling around, that's totally normal. It took me at least a month of doing this before I didn't look like a maniac, just, you know, going all over the place. So it's totally fine. All right, cool. We just did that. Let's switch legs again. Top of the left foot on top of the couch behind us. Squat down, 6 reps on our right leg. 3, 4. Don't forget, press through that right heel. You should feel it in your glute. All right, and switch legs again. Let's do it on the left leg, 6 reps. It might take a little longer to learn these types of movements than it does like a simple body weight squat or something like that. But the time it takes you to learn these is well worth it, because the effectiveness of these workouts are so much more than, I mean, you know, regular squats are good too, but it's good to learn these alternatives. Anyway, let's grab our bag again. Let's go back to the rotational squats. Let's just do 1 set of 8 reps on both sides. All right, so I'm gonna start, as a reminder, the bag, squat down, it's gonna be to the bottom right, and then I'm gonna get up, bag to the upper left. And I'm gonna do this 8 times. I'm 3 in, 4, I'm gonna squat down, press through both heels as I get up with the bag and rotate it across my torso. And after you do 8, let's switch sides. Bottom left to top right. Keep it going. 4, and 5, 6, and 8. All right, cool. That is 2 movements, 3 if you want to count the bodyweight squat, for the legs taken into different planes of movement. Feel free to do that 3, 4, and 5 times. But for now, we're just going to go right into core. And we're going to talk a little bit about core activation, because a lot of people, when they do core exercises, they're not actually training their cores, they're training their hip flexors. And so we're going to learn the very important distinction between training or activating your core and activating your hip flexors. Basically, if you fold your body in half at the waist, so like you're bowing down with your back completely straight and you're just bending at the hips, completely straight down. If I were sitting, let's say in a sit-up position, that's not actually activating your core, that's activating your hip flexors, okay? So in order to activate your core, instead of folding our bodies in half at the waist, we're actually folding our bodies in half at about our belly button area. So a good way to think about it is trying to bring the bottom of our rib cages and the top of our pelvis closer together. You basically want to feel that crunching motion. We're not trying to hold that solid as we're sitting up, right? Sort of difference between a crunch and a sit-up. A sit-up actually works our hip flexors if you do it, you know, in the traditional sense or definition of the word. So the first movement we're going to do is called penguins. And what penguins is a mixture between crunches and side-to-side oblique activation. So let's get down into a crunch position. My feet are planted on the ground, my knees are a 90-degree angle, my butt's on the ground, and I'm lying back. My whole upper body is resting on the ground. Let me move my bag out the way. All right, cool. Now, from this bottom crunch position on the ground, I'm going to come up in sort of like a half low crunch. Now, don't forget this whole thing, we're not trying to bend at the waist, right? My lower back is pressed against the floor. It's not arched, it's pressed against the floor. And I'm just trying to lift my upper back off the ground and sort of roll it towards my legs. Now, so I'm going to be in a half crunch and I'm going to try to rotate side to side. And a good cue to use is to tap your right ankle with your right hand and then turn back to center. Tap your left ankle with your left hand, return back to center. So we're basically sort of wobbling side to side, tapping our ankles with our hands. So right ankle, right hand, left ankle, left hand. Let's do this for 30 seconds. And remember, so stay in this low crunch as we are rotating our upper torsos right and left, or I should say swaying our upper torsos right and left, while keeping our upper backs off the ground. About 15 seconds left. And there we go. So that's penguins. The next thing we're going to do are leg raises. And again, we're going to do leg raises, but with the cues that we just learned for activating our abs. So basically, I'm going to lay flat on the ground, my back, my legs, everything is straight, flat on the ground like I'm going to sleep. But I'm not going to go to sleep because this is a very interesting workout. The first cue you want to do before you lift your legs off the ground for leg raises is to press the small of your back into the ground, right? It's that little movement where you're rotating, or I should say you're tilting your pelvis. So basically you do not want the arch of your back. You want to press the lower back into the ground. Now, once that's into the ground, then I'm going to lift my legs up and back down without touching my heels to the ground. Let's just do like 10 leg lifts. I'm on 4. And remember, we want to lift that tailbone off the ground, roll your pelvis, everything up off the ground for the top of this, right? We're not just trying to lift our legs up, we want to lift the bottoms of our torsos up. And I lost count, but that's basically it. Cool. We are going to do the third movement of our core, which we're going to get back onto our fronts into a plank position. And just to make it interesting, we're going to do what's called shuffle planks. And I'll explain what that is as soon as we get into a plank position. So basically, plank position, right? Everyone knows it's kind of a push-up position. My hands are under my shoulders. My shoulder blades, aka my shoulders, are depressed and retracted, meaning I'm not shrugging my shoulders up to my ears. They are down, and they are retracted, meaning I'm not hunching my shoulders forward. They are pulled back in a good position. Now I'm going to be in a I'm going to be in a plank position, and then I'm going to shuffle my feet sideways. So I'm going to step out to the left of my left foot, bring my right foot to meet it, step back to center with my right foot, bring the left foot back center, step out to the right with my right foot, bring the left foot to follow it, and back to center. You're basically kind of like dancing. You're shuffling your feet to the right, then to the middle, then to the left, to the middle. Let's do this for 30 more seconds. Keep doing it. And again, this adds a little bit of instability and a little bit of rotation to a movement that we normally do, just trying to hold it still, right? And so for us, it's kind of important just to practice it in different planes of movement. 5 seconds. And there we go. Cool. Now that you guys know the 3 movements, let's just go back through them one more time, a little faster. And again, same with the leg ones. Feel free to do these 3, 4, even 5 times. Since we're just a little pressed for time today, we'll just do them only twice. All right, penguins, 30 seconds. Remember, low crunch, and just sway right and left, right hand to right ankle, left hand to left ankle. And keep it going. I will say I also like these movements, or I should this movement, because of the movie Happy Feet. Because when you say penguins, you think Happy Feet. All right, that's your penguins. Next, we're going to go into leg lifts. Remember, press your lower back into the ground and then lift your legs up. Let's do it 10 times. Try not to touch the heels to the ground. Resist the legs, the weight of your legs as they go down. Two more for me. Perfect. And then last one, I'm gonna get into that plank position, and we're gonna do some dancing shuffle planks. All right, 30 seconds, step to the left, now to the right, left, right, 20 more seconds. And remember, anytime doing any type of plank, try not to let your hips either raise all the way up, like so, or drift all the way down. We want to keep our hips nice and flat so that there's a straight line going from our shoulders to our backs to the back of our heels. All right, cool. There we go. Congratulations, that's the end of the workout. We did some leg movements, some core movements, and if you start integrating those, even just once a week for like 30 minutes, if you're coming from somewhere where you do know strength movements, you'll see like a pretty big difference. And I rebelled against doing strength for the first couple of years of my athletic career, and when I started doing it, it was a very big difference.
That's great. Thank you, Francesco, for that wonderful workout. I have a question on any adaptations of any of the exercises you just saw. If somebody wanted to modify them, maybe not to be so extreme, or maybe they can't do some of the movements. Do you have any advice on the adaptations?
Oh, 100%. So let's start with the leg ones. So anytime you're doing these squats, you can always lighten the resistance. Well, obviously you can do it with a body weight. And if you want to reduce the resistance even more, you can hold on to a surface like the side of the couch. Like when I was doing the split stance squats, I was holding on to the arm of the couch for balance. I could also hold on just to help lower the resistance a little bit on the way up, you know? And there's nothing wrong with honestly just doing bodyweight squats if that's the level where you're at. I mean, I still do bodyweight squats and get a ton of, benefit out of them. For the plank stuff, anytime there's a plank or push up or anything where you're on your front, you can reduce the resistance by either going on your knees and staying on your hands, or you could actually put your feet up on a surface like a couch or a chair, which will it'll open the angle of the movement, therefore reducing the weight and target something like slightly different. So you can either go on your knees or put your legs up onto a certain surface. As for the leg raises, you can bend your knees so that you're only lifting your knees like off the ground instead of your extended legs. Those are just a few modifications you can do.
Perfect. Those are very helpful. And just a question about Try Achilles before we let you go. How have you adapted to this virtual world and your regular events? How have they been going for the last 6 months?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, most if not all events have been canceled this year and going in next year. So in terms of training, it's been a lot of virtual training, a lot of training at home. I was lucky enough to be able to get a bike trainer in my home, so I was able to keep up with my biking. But swimming and running has been kind of off for the past 6 months. Hopefully, getting back into that now as things slowly start to open up.
Okay, yeah, great. And if someone was interested in getting involved in those virtual training sessions, how would they contact you?
Yeah, so Achilles International. So the website's achillesinternational.org. And there's a session later on today talking more about Achilles. But basically, from that website, you can find an entire library of virtual workout content. There's a link on the homepage, achillesinternational.org. There are also links to find local chapter workouts because some of our chapters, depending on where they're located, are starting to reopen with like RSVP processes and like COVID processes and all that. So you can find all that info on the website.
Perfect. Thanks for that great advice. And just a reminder to everybody out there that this session was recorded. So if you did it and want to do it again, it will live on the USABA Facebook page, or if you want to share it with anybody, send it along to them. So once again, thank you, Francesco, for this great workout on a Friday before we all hit the weekend in celebration of National Blind Sports Week.
Cool, man. Yeah, awesome.
All right, and just a reminder, we have 2 more sessions today. Coming up at 5 p.m. Eastern, we'll be joined by Kathy Sellers for a track and field educational workout. Kathy was the former director of U.S. Paralympics track and field, and we'll wrap up the day with Eleanor Cox of Achilles International, and she'll speak about guide running and accessibility in sports. So until those sessions begin, we'll give you a break to cool off from the workout of Francesco, and we'll see you later.
Awesome. See you guys later.
Bye.